Hello, fellow traders. Tis I, TheRumpledOne. TRO2020 donational indicators. This time I'm making a video on the TR2020 Walmal lines. But first, I just have to remind you that these videos are for educational purposes only, and your results may differ from mine. Trading is extremely risky. You can lose all of your money. If you need trading, investment, or financial advice, seek the advice of an accredited financial professional. And also, when you're trading, make sure you have your risk management in place. Don't lose any more on any single trade than you're willing to lose. But back to the main topic, the TRO 2020 Walmal lines. And I got to give a shout out to my man Stan because he was asking for something. He thought maybe he was doing something wrong, but actually I had to make a few modifications. So I kind of went to town on the indicator. And right here, this is the indicator, the TRO 2020 Walmal lines. Now, it does a lot more than the Walmal lines. In fact, this is one of my trading templates that I use now. But let's just go through the indicator here. And I'm going to hit the reset button. So when you first load the indicator, actually there's one other indicator on here I have to turn off, the first bar of hour. So when you first get it, it has the Walmal lines, but you notice it only has two. It doesn't have all the sweet spots. It just has the buy line and the sell line for the hour that you're trading. And we're coming up to the end of the hour here in about 2 or 3 minutes. And you'll get to see, actually that's in the other indicator, but you also get to see how this one resets itself. Now, Stan, if you're watching, you see how this is at 400. I noticed on the chart that you sent me, it doesn't seem to have a 00. So that's something you'll have to check with your chart. And that was weird. The computer froze. The indicator is functioning properly, Stan. As you can see, it's at 400, and that's where that line starts. And that's where these lines start too. So I don't think your computer had a 00 bar. You just have to double check. So this is, once again, here's the Walmal buy line, the Walmal sell line. So that, you get the open, you see you had a trade trigger here. You would go short. Now, if you remember, Walmal doesn't like to do the first touch. He does the second touch, and usually he's on the M5 chart. So this wouldn't even, these two touches wouldn't count. But you see here, now here's a first touch. He may not have taken that one. He may have taken this one or possibly this one. And you see you took some heat, but then it did break out for a couple of pips and you were able to make some folding money. And right now we're at the top of the hour. You see those lines disappear. They reset themselves. Now here's where the fun begins and the new features of the indicator. Okay, we have the sweet spot zones. If you want to shade them, now there's a separate switch for each one of the zones. So you have the sweet spot zones, and if you want to, you can shade them, but it's going to take a few seconds for the shading to appear because we're still on the very first candle. And so while we're waiting for that to happen, we can go on to the next feature. You can also have the dynamic zones, and these are the ones that Stan likes to use. So he has it set. It's basically the buy zone with the threshold of 5 pips. And you can see it just shaded because now we've got an area to shade. So you can also have the dynamic buy zone. So right here, this is the open +5, and this is the open -5. And one reason Stan likes it is because in this example right here, you see it opened right on top of the Walmal sell line. I mean, the open was 80.1. So you really didn't have any time to prepare to jump in that trade. You just, so now you've got the sell zone. And knowing that the average range here is 10, you can see here we've got, out of the last 4 hours, 3 of them had a range greater than 10. That's the average range here is 18, and 3 of them had an average greater than 10. So that means they exited the dynamic buy zone. So if you're using a dynamic buy zone, you can have a sell here and the buy here. And once again, if you want to make them tighter, 3 pips instead of 5, or you can make them 10 pips, that's up to you, the user. It's all under your control. And also, you can shade those dynamic zones. So you can see here the shading, and that's slightly different because you have an overlap of shading. But then if you don't want to use the Walmals, then that shading goes away. So now you just have the buy zone shading. Also, you can have the take profit line show, and this is based on range. And the indicator knows if it's the H1 is red, it's going to show you the take profit line down here, and if it's H1 is green, it'll show you it up here. Just a reminder which direction you should be trading. Okay, also I added the previous H1 high-low lines too. So you can see here the previous H1 for an H1 breakout here to the north and an H1 breakout here to the south, because those are also can be very profitable. And let's see, what else did I put in here? We got the take profit, the sweet spots, the range. Oh, I gave each zone its own color. So you can change the colors here. So if you don't like the gray, maybe you prefer blue, there you go. And let's see, we can add the sweet spot lines back in. But let's not shade it. Let's just show the lines. And I call it the Walmal, the WM sell and buy, simply because those are the 2 lines that Walmal uses. So that's a tip of the hat to Walmal. But there you have it. You see you have 3 levels of buy, 3 levels of sell. And what you probably would want to do is take the first line that it crosses rather than wait and give up some of the pips. Now, some people would prefer to wait to get a direction because they don't want it to reverse on them, and that's okay. But you see here, if you were lucky enough to get in at that 80, you may, at a low of 76, you could have probably picked up a couple of pips. Like right now, you could be up 2 pips. And once again, here's a lot of people who poo-poo 2 pips. But if you're trading $10 a pip, that's a $20 bill. If you're trading $50 a pip, that's a $100 bill. So, as a trader, you're starting out, you might be trading a dime a pip or a dollar a pip. If you can take 2 pips, then it's just a matter of time as you go from a dime to a dollar to $10 to $100 a pip. Just a matter of time. So if you get good at 2 pips, you are on your way. But the problem is that you might get lured by those big pip advertisements you see in your inbox that, hey, this robot made 839 pips and this, whatever indicator gives you this, and this EA will give you this many pips. Well, in fact, I saw one today. The best trend indicator ever, something to that effect, for $37. It's kind of like, let me think. If I had the best trend indicator ever, okay, instead of going through all the trouble of setting up a website, mass mailing, mass emailing, doing all the back end stuff, writing all the documentation, having customer service, I just run the EA and let the sucker make me money. I mean, really, that's why when people talk about me selling indicators, it's just like, no, 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 no. I don't sell indicators. I just make them and I share them. And, once again, it was my buddy Airball that was his idea. Because before they're out there for free. And he said, no, take some of them and make them buy you a steak dinner. And that's where the $50 came from. It's like, yeah, it's let them show their appreciation by sending you enough so you can go out and have a nice steak dinner at a nice restaurant. And we're not talking Sizzlers, right? Actually, though, nowadays I might have to, maybe I need to double it because I know Ruth Chris is getting pretty expensive. So, but no, no, I'm not going to double the price. Don't worry, donators. But anyway, I hope you see how that works, the inputs, what you can do here. And if you have any ideas, that might make this better, let me know. And I will see if I can incorporate them. Oh, one other thing. Let's see. Do I have it on this indicator? Dynamic zones, side markers. I don't know if many people know about the side markers, but they show up over here. And the reason I use them is sometimes I have to do other things on the same computer. So I'll have the window so it just kind of shows these sides. And that way I can keep an eye on the trade. Either if I'm in a trade, and then also I can have the Control T and see the PL down here. So if, that's what the side markers are for. At least that's how I use them. I don't know how other people use them. In fact, if you use them for something else, let me know. But I just saw that as a benefit, especially when you're in a trade. That way you can see where price is and you can see the level of your trade. But as you can see right now, things are kind of quiet here with the pound dollar, not much movement. We've only got 4 pips and we're 10 minutes into the hour. Things are kind of quiet. Got a 41 pip range so far today, though. I'm so used to looking up here, I just add them together, but technically it's only 40 because these are rounded. So, but right here's the daily range, average, and I put this average range in an indicator because once again, that's from Stan. I saw he was using up a couple of dashboard. He loaded and he had these average ranges up there. He's taking up a lot of real estate. So I said, hey, that's a simple thing. I can just put that in there. It took me all of about 5 minutes. So I just sent out batch 6 earlier. What was it, this week or last week? So you have to wait for batch 7 to get all of the improvements, but they will be in there. So I hope that helps you, fellow traders and donators. I don't know how many people are actually using this, but it's definitely handy. Once again, simple horizontal line trades. So, fellow traders, always remember, never forget, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So drain the banks. And if you're just tuning in for the first time, please hit subscribe, hit like, click on the bell to be notified, and then share the video all over the internet. Drive people crazy. TheRumpledOne, signing out.